and we will bells on the horses are. Zechariah 14, verse 16, it says, "And it shall come to pass that everyone who is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles." So they probably use that verse, I would guess. That's definitely that's a related one. So if I were to ask you, when does this occur? Does this occur in the past, or is this a future event we're looking at? Yeah, we're looking at the future. We're looking at the future. This is, and who is that King? The Lord. Who are they going to worship? Who is going to be the King they're going to worship? Jesus Christ. This is going to be Jesus that they're going to worship. And I would believe that if I were to go to anyone who's probably not in the Church of God, or just go up to someone who's kind of familiar with the Bible, and I would ask them, I would say, here, I'm going to read this Zechariah 14 to you, and I'm going to ask them, say, does this take place in the future? I think every single person would tell me, I think that takes place in the future. And I would ask, and if I were to ask anybody who studies the Bible in a church and say, okay, well, who is this King of Kings in the future? I think most everybody I think I asked in these churches would probably tell me it's Jesus Christ. But they wouldn't keep the earth who do not come up to Jerusalem. On them there will be no rain. And if the family of Egypt will not come up and enter in, they shall have no rain. They shall receive the plague which the Lord strikes the nations who do not come up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And this shall be the punishment of Egypt. Come up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So I'm going to call people out. I'm sorry. All right. So that's coming, and he's going to proclaim the Feast of Tabernacles. Would you think that the Baptists, if they read that, they would know that was talking about Jesus? You don't think so? You don't think so? All right, maybe not. They should, because it seems pretty clear, but it's clear to us. All right, and the thing is, if in this future, God feels about it so strongly that he's not going to send rain to Egypt, I guess particularly Egypt or anyone who doesn't keep the Feast of Tabernacles, we have to ask ourselves, how does God feel about the Feast of Tabernacles now? Do you think that he's only going to care about the Feast of Tabernacles in the future? No, that's why we're here. And if I was to show this to someone and say, okay, if they can agree with me, if you don't keep the Feast of Tabernacles, he's not going to be happy. And he's not going to give rain. So he must care about it a lot. So that's why we keep it, because we understand God cares about the Feast of Tabernacles so much that in the future when he returns, they don't keep it, they don't get rain. All right, verse 20. In that day, and that day is when Christ returns, holiness to the Lord shall be engraved on the bells of the horses. I've always read over that. Holiness to the Lord shall be engraved on the bells of the horses. Always kind of puzzled me a little bit until I just kind of read what it said. And the thing that's kind of made me wonder, and then I believe I talked to one person, they always said, well, I thought that was talking about Christmas or something. Because they're talking about bells and horses. That's what they told me. And then I asked myself, I had to look at, why do horses have bells? Who here rides horses or knows about horses?
Get attention to show off the horses.
Yeah, sometimes they. Okay. They have electric cars now, and the thing about an electric car, especially if you're like right here, you can't see, but you can hear a car coming, right? Yeah. So what if?
Probably would.
You don't want to cross the road because you can't hear it, and that's the same it was with like the horses. So they started putting bells on horses. They had, so when horses were coming, whoever was riding the horses, that they would hear them coming, especially if you can't see, and as a safety precaution, so they can hear the horses coming. And so, and as they approach, the bells and the horses are making noise. All right. And then now we continue reading. So it says, holiness to the Lord is going to be written on these bells. House shall be like bowls before the altar. He says, yes, every pot in Jerusalem and Judah shall be holiness to the Lord of hosts. So what do you think that's talking about? Pots in Jerusalem. It's kind of an odd combination when he talks about the bells on the horses, and then it talks about the pots. And if I think about it, who ever thought about bells and horses before we're going to talk about it tonight? It's not something that runs through your mind. It's just, and again, maybe if you hear a horse coming, then you might think, oh, those bells sound nice, and they're real nice chimes as they're coming. But you don't think about it much. It's just a common thing on the horse. And again, was done for safety or for ornamental or for different reasons. And then the pots, it says every pot will be for the Lord's service. So it's interesting. So let's look and see if we can figure out what the pots may be used for, or what we can look at the pots. But I think I have a comment.
Are they talking about actual pots, or is it metaphor? I mean, we're compared to pots. That God says that He makes different vessels for different things.
And that is true. So it could be referring to the people for the Lord's service. But I guess the key thing to get from this, and I do have a comment over here. I love comments because that means I can talk less. All right.
I was just thinking, you were sort of alluding. His holiness will be pervasive everywhere.
There'll be no more separation between the secular and the holy. Everything will be holy.
Yeah, I think that you're getting the point there, is that everything at this point is going to be to God's service. And he's going to say, even the bells and the horses, even the pots and pans are going to be used for God's service.
For those of us that grew up before and during the Second World War, we remember when gasoline was short, all the wagons came to. Horses had bells so that you knew that they were coming. And this is a statement saying he's coming.
And that's a good way to look at it also. The bells and the horses, and you hear them, and they say holiness to the Lord. So the Lord is coming, and the pots and pans. All right, so we're going to look at, we're going to read a little bit about the tabernacle, because we're keeping the Feast of Tabernacles. And again, and Feast of Tabernacles we're looking at this future time. We're kind of projecting ourselves, thinking about the kingdom of God. And so I wanted to look in Exodus 25 and look at, especially, and we'll kind of read about these bowls and other things. Because again, other things that are used in God's. Jerusalem will be holiness to the Lord, because they're going to be in service to our King, Jesus Christ. All right. So Exodus 25 and verse 31. It says, and this is talking about building the tabernacle. It says, you also shall make a lampstand of pure gold. The lamp shall be of hammered work. Its shaft, its branches, its bowls, its ornamental knobs, and flowers shall be one piece. So I guess it's a lamp. But probably it's not a basic lamp. It's not just a pole with like a lot, just some fire coming out of it. It's something ornamental. See a comment here.
It's the menorah.
Yeah.
And we know,
Yeah.
it's the 7-branched lamp that was in a way it's representative of Christ inside the temple. Mm-hmm. And he says, I am the light, but in the temple, we understand in the New Jerusalem won't need that because he'll be there in person.
Right, and so the menorah, it kind of branches up like, it's very ornamental. It's not a basic lamp. It's very ornamental. He goes on, and he says it has ornamental knobs and flowers shall be of one piece. So, and 6 branches shall come out of its side. It says 3 branches of the lampstand out of one side, so 3 on one side, and then 3 branches on the other side. And it says 3 bowls should be made like almond blossoms on one branch. So y'all know what an almond blossom looks like? Because I read that, and so how quickly can you find out what an almond blossom looks like? Really quickly, you just like look it up. Yeah, so you Google, and if you're out there watching, you may be able to Google this. So I Googled it. You know, I said, "What is an almond?" And since it's a flower, it looks like a blossom, and you have firsthand experience.
It's a wide open blossom that kind of looks like an open tulip, and it comes up around, and that's an almond blossom.
And so this was not just to be just a basic lamp. It would these 3 on one side and 3 on the other would look like a flower.
Yes.
So it's very beautiful. Made out of gold. So it says, I'm sorry, no, we're at the bowls. 3 bowls should be made like almond blossoms on one branch with an ornamental knob and a flower, and bowls like almond blossoms on the other branch with an ornamental knob and a flower. And so for the 6 branches that come out of the lampstand, on the lampstand itself, 4 bowls, flower, and so on. And it kind of explains it. And it gives you some. Arrange the lamps so they shall give light in front of it, and its wick trimmers and their trays shall be of pure gold. It shall be made of talent of pure gold with all these utensils, and to see that you make them according to the pattern which was shown to you on the mountain. So again, it's the menorah, and it's this beautiful thing that we part of. But it's a tent that they were going to take. They go to the desert, find where they're going to go next, and then they stop, And so this, and there's other bowls and pots. So what were they there for? There's a service. They were there to worship God, for service of God. And so when we look at what it talks about in Zechariah, the bowls and the things that are there, everything's going to be in service to God. Let's look in Exodus 31, or with type of stuff. Anybody here? So we don't have the skill. If we were, we can read the description, but we don't have the skill to make those things. All right, so Exodus 31, verse 31, says, Then the Lord said to Moses, he says, I'm sorry, 32, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. Verse 3, And I have filled him with the Spirit of God, in wisdom, in understanding, in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship, to design artistic works, to work in gold, in silver and bronze, in cutting jewels for setting, in carving wood. Who here can carve wood? Anybody carve wood? Okay, we got a few that can carve wood. You make like cat.
Well, yeah, carve different antler and stuff.
Okay, so you. Somewhat. Okay. All right. Okay. So right here it says. So God needed this tabernacle, and He gave His Spirit to this artisan, and he's able to create these things and create it beautiful. And again, I've ever seen a model of the tabernacle and how it was arranged. I think somebody did a presentation one time at the feast, and they gave me their copy of the tabernacle. So they gave me like a little one with all the little pieces in it and stuff. And I just could imagine what it would look like with all its splendor. Because even the tapestry and the way it was, everything about it was the top notch. Because it was where God was going to dwell.